The cursor blinked accusingly on my screen, each flash like a tiny dagger to my heart. 3 times I read the email, hoping the words would somehow rearrange themselves into something less devastating. They didn't. I'm Ashlyn, and until 5 minutes ago, I thought I had my life figured out. The attached photos made a mockery of that belief. My husband Dylan, the man who'd kissed me goodbye this morning, was wrapped around a woman who definitely wasn't me. The timestamp showed last Tuesday, when he'd claimed to be at a business conference in Seattle. "Mom? Are you okay?" Sophie's voice pierced through my spiral. She stood in my home office doorway, her 13-year-old face scrunched with concern. I slammed my laptop shut. "Just work stuff, honey. Everything's fine. You look like you're going to throw up." "Thanks for that assessment." I forced a smile. "Don't you have homework?" "Already done." Dad texted. "He's working late again." Of course he was. My fingers curled into fists beneath my desk. "Right. How about pizza for dinner?" "You hate ordering pizza on weeknights." "Maybe I'm feeling rebellious." The word tasted bitter on my tongue. Sophie lingered, and I could feel her studying me with those 2 perceptive eyes she inherited from her father. "Really, sweetheart?" "I'm fine." After she left, I reopened the laptop. The anonymous email waited. "Thought you should know what your husband's really been doing. A friend." Below that, 5 photos, each more damning than the last. The woman was younger, blonde, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly car payment. My phone buzzed. Dylan's message popped up, "Big project. Don't wait up. Love you." I wanted to vomit. Instead, I opened our banking app. There it was, a charge from the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, carefully labeled as conference registration fee. My IT background kicked in. Within minutes, I had access to his email, calendar, credit card statements. The truth unfolded like a map of betrayal, each discovery a new pin in my heart. "Ashlyn?" My mother's voice came through my headset. I must have dialed her without realizing. "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Everything. Just checking in." "Don't lie to your mother. I can hear it in your voice." I swallowed hard. "Mom, I need to handle something. But I might need your help with Sophie soon." "Whatever you need, sweetheart." She paused. "Is it Dylan?" "How did you?" Mothers know these things. And I never trusted that smile of his. Too perfect. A laugh escaped me, sharp and hollow. "I have to go. Sophie needs dinner. Call me tomorrow. Promise me." "I promise." After hanging up, I stared at the evidence spread across my screen. 15 years of marriage, and I'd never once checked his accounts. Never questioned his late nights or business trips. Trust, I'd called it. Stupidity, looking back. My cursor hovered over the forward button. 1 click and I could send everything to his boss, his family, our friends. But Sophie's face flashed in my mind, and I forced myself to think. Dylan had always underestimated me, treated my tech skills as cute hobby rather than a career. He probably thought I'd never find out, or if I did, I'd be too scared to act. He was wrong on both counts. I closed the email without forwarding it. Instead, I opened a new document and began typing, methodically listing every account, every transaction, every lie I'd uncovered. By the time Sophie called up that the pizza had arrived, I had the beginnings of a plan. Dylan wanted to play games? Fine. But he'd forgotten something crucial. In chess, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. And I'd just made my opening move. Dylan came home late that night, smelling of expensive cologne and whiskey. I watched him stumble through his nightly routine from behind my laptop screen. My fingers never pausing as I documented another string of suspicious transactions. Still working? He loosened his tie, flashing that perfect smile that used to make my heart skip. Now it just made my stomach turn. The farm tech project again? Someone has to pay attention to our future. The words came out sharper than I intended. His smile flickered. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. I forced myself to look back at my screen. Just tired. You know, if you're worried about money, I could always. I'm not worried about money. I was worried about the $20,000 he'd withdrawn last month. Labeled as business investment. I was worried about the credit card charges at jewelry stores that had never resulted in gifts for me. I was worried about how easily lies slipped from his lips. Sophie appeared in the doorway, already in her pajamas. Dad, you missed pizza night. Sorry, princess. Big client dinner. He moved to hug her, but she stepped back. Whatever. Mom, can you help me with my coding project tomorrow? Of course, honey. Dylan's face darkened. Since when are you into coding? Since forever, Sophie shot back. You'd know that if you were ever home. Sophie, I warned, even as pride swelled in my chest. My daughter, so fierce, so perceptive. No, she's right. Dylan ran a hand through his hair. I've been working too much. How about this weekend we all go somewhere? The lake house maybe? The lake house where he'd taken his blonde mistress 3 weeks ago, according to his credit card statement. Can't, I said. I have a presentation Monday. Reschedule it. Like you reschedule your meetings? The words escaped before I could stop them. His eyes narrowed. What's going on with you lately? Nothing's going on with me. I closed my laptop with deliberate care. Sophie, bed. Now. After she left, Dylan moved closer, perching on the edge of my desk. Talk to me, Ash. You've been different all week. I looked up at him, studying the face I'd loved for 15 years. The slight crow's feet around his eyes, the dimple in his left cheek, the perfectly maintained stubble. I searched for any sign of guilt, any crack in his facade. There was nothing. Different how? I asked. Distant. Cold. He reached for my hand. I let him take it, fighting the urge to pull away. If something's bothering you, would you tell me? I interrupted. If something was bothering you? He blinked. Of course. Promise? I promise. He squeezed my hand. No secrets between us, right? I smiled, and for the first time in our marriage, I understood how easy it was to lie to someone you loved. Right. No secrets. Later, after he'd fallen asleep, I slipped down to Sophie's room. She was still awake, the blue light of her tablet illuminating her face. Mom? She sat up. Are you okay? I sat on the edge of her bed. Why wouldn't I be? Because. She hesitated, then turned her tablet toward me. On the screen was an email draft, addressed to an anonymous account. I found something. About Dad. My blood ran cold. What did you find? His passwords weren't even hard to crack. Her voice trembled. He's been. There's this woman. Stop. I pulled her into my arms, feeling her tears soak through my shirt. Listen to me. Whatever you found, whatever you were going to do, let me handle it. But. Promise me, Sophie. This isn't your burden to carry. She pulled back, wiping her eyes. What are you going to do? I thought about the evidence mounting on my laptop, about Dylan's easy lies over dinner. About the daughter who was too smart to be fooled by either of us. I'm going to protect us, I said. Both of us. But I need time to do it right. She nodded, her expression eerily similar to the one I'd seen in the mirror lately. I can help. I know you can. I kissed her forehead. But for now, just act normal. Can you do that? I learned from the best, she said, and I wasn't sure whether to be proud or heartbroken that my daughter had become such a good actor. The notification popped up on my screen at 3 a.m. Sophie had accessed Dylan's company email. Again. My daughter, the amateur hacker, was getting sloppy with her digital footprints. I reached for my phone to text her, then froze as another alert flashed. File transfer in progress. Multiple documents. Financial records. Damn it, Sophie, I muttered, throwing off my covers. But before I could reach her room, she burst into mine, tablet clutched to her chest. Mom, she whispered, face pale in the darkness. You need to see this. The spreadsheets told a story that made my blood run cold. Regular transfers from the company's Agricultural Development Fund, my project's funding source, to offshore accounts. Falsified reports. Doctored numbers. All traced back to Dylan's executive access codes. He's stealing from your project, Sophie said. That's why he never wanted you to succeed with it. My hands shook as I scrolled through the documents. How did you even find these? He used the same password pattern for everything. Amateur stuff. She perched on my bed, watching me process the information. There's more. About Claire. I looked up sharply. What about her? She works for one of the competing firms. The ones bidding against your project. Sophie pulled up another email thread. But I don't think she knows about the money. Look at their messages, she thinks he's leaving you for her. That they're going to start fresh together. A hollow laugh escaped me. Fresh. With stolen money. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, headlights swept across my bedroom wall. Dylan's car, pulling into the driveway at 3:30 a.m. Delete your traces, I hissed. Now. Go to bed. Sophie's fingers flew across her tablet as she hurried out. I slipped back under the covers, heart pounding, mind racing through possibilities. Minutes later, Dylan stumbled in, reeking of perfume and scotch. You're awake? He squinted at me. Couldn't sleep. Work stress. I watched him undress, this stranger wearing my husband's face. The project deadline's coming up. He paused, one shoe in hand. About that. The board's considering pulling funding. Budget cuts. Really? My voice stayed steady, even as rage burned through my veins. That's not what the quarterly reports showed. Things change fast in business, Ash. You know that. He slid into bed, reaching for me. Maybe it's for the best. You could focus on something else. I let him pull me close, fighting the urge to recoil. Like what? I don't know. Something less demanding. More family-oriented. Family-oriented. Like embezzlement and adultery? I wanted to scream the words, to throw his lies back in his face. Instead, I said, I'll think about it. The next morning, I waited until Dylan left for work before calling the number I'd found in his emails. Hello? A woman's voice, younger than I expected. Claire Mitchell? Yes? Who's this? Someone who thinks you should know the truth about Dylan Parker. My voice remained calm, professional. And about the money he's been stealing from Morton Agricultural Technologies. Silence stretched across the line. Then, I don't know what you're talking about. Check your email in 5 minutes. And Claire? I'd think carefully about your next move. Your firm wouldn't want to be implicated in corporate espionage. I hung up and sent the files, carefully edited to protect Sophie's involvement. Then I called my mother. I need you to take Sophie for a few days, I said when she answered. It's happening, then? Yes. I watched Sophie through the window as she waited for her school bus. Things are about to get messy. Be careful, Ashlyn. Men like Dylan don't take well to losing control. I know. I touched my screen where Sophie's face had been moments before. That's why I need to end this quickly. Before he realizes what's coming. And Sophie? She's stronger than we think. Smarter too. Pride mixed with worry in my chest. She'll understand eventually. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and began composing 2 emails. One to Morton's board of directors, outlining specific concerns about financial discrepancies. Another to Dylan's mistress, offering to meet and compare notes. The endgame was starting. I just hoped I could protect the ones I loved while burning everything else to the ground. The coffee shop buzzed with morning chatter, but Ben's silence spoke volumes as he studied the evidence spread across my tablet. 20 years of friendship meant he could read between the lines of what I wasn't saying. Jesus, Ash. He pushed the tablet back, running a hand through his graying hair. How long have you known? 2 weeks. I wrapped my hands around my untouched latte. Long enough to know it's not just about the affair anymore. The embezzlement makes it criminal. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. You need to go to the police. And then what? Watch Sophie's college fund disappear into legal fees. I shook my head. There has to be another way. Like blackmail? His eyes narrowed. That's not you, Ashlyn. Before I could respond, my phone lit up with a text from Claire, meeting you was a mistake. He explained everything. Stay away from us. Ben read the message over my shoulder. What did you do? Gave her enough rope. I showed him the screenshot I'd sent Claire, Dylan at dinner with another woman, neither of them Claire nor me. Turns out our friend's been playing everyone. Christ. Ben's expression darkened. You're enjoying this, aren't you? The accusation stung because it was true. Maybe I am. Does that make me terrible? It makes you human. He hesitated. But Sophie. My phone buzzed again. Dylan's name flashed on the screen. We need to talk. Now. Come to the office. He knows something's wrong, I said, gathering my things. Claire must have warned him. Ben caught my arm. Don't go alone. I have to. If I bring anyone else, he'll know I'm building a case. I forced a smile. Besides, we're in his corporate office. What's the worst he could do? That's what scares me. Ben stood. Call me when you're done. Promise? Promise. The elevator ride to Dylan's floor felt endless. Through the glass walls, I watched Seattle's skyline blur behind rain clouds. The same view I'd admired when he first brought me here, proud to show off his success. Now every gleaming surface felt like a lie. His secretary's desk was empty. The whole floor seemed deserted, despite it being mid-morning. Dylan waited in his office, standing behind his desk like a king on his throne. Shut the door, he said. I did, noting how his hands trembled slightly as he poured himself a drink. It's 10 a.m., Dylan. Interesting time to meet your ex-boyfriend for coffee, too. Ben's been my friend since before I met you. Right. He took a long sip. Just like Claire's just a colleague? The trap was obvious, but I stepped into it anyway. Is that what she is? She called me. Very upset. Seemed to think I was living some kind of double life. His laugh held no humor. Wonder where she got that idea? Maybe from the same place I got these. I pulled up the financial records on my phone, watching his face. The agricultural fund, Dylan? Really? Color drained from his face. How did you? Does it matter? I moved closer, voice steady, despite my racing heart. What matters is what happens next. Are you threatening me? I'm giving you a choice. The words tasted like ash. Either you come clean to the board about the embezzlement and give me full custody of Sophie, or I take everything to the police. Your career, your reputation, all of it. He set down his glass with exaggerated care. You really think you can prove any of this? I think your girlfriend might help, once she sees the photos of you with her best friend. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist. You vindictive bitch. Let go. I didn't pull away, didn't show fear. You're on camera, remember? No. His smile turned cruel. I'm not. Maintenance day. Systems are down until noon. Funny timing, isn't it? Understanding hit like ice water. This wasn't a confrontation. It was a trap. Ben knows I'm here, I said quickly. Ben knows you're meeting your lying, cheating husband to talk about divorce. Dylan's grip tightened. Who's going to question if things get emotional? I heard the office door click shut behind me. Heels on hardwood. A familiar perfume. Hello, Ashlyn, Claire said. We need to talk about those emails you sent. The bruises on my wrist had faded to a sickly yellow, but I kept my sleeve pulled down during the video call with Sophie. Her face filled my laptop screen, worry lines too deep for a 13-year-old creasing her forehead. Dad keeps calling Grandma's house, she said. He sounds different. Scary different. Don't answer if he calls again. I glanced at my phone, where Ben's latest text glowed, police report filed. Restraining order in process. Just focus on your coding project. Mom. Sophie leaned closer to her camera. What happened in his office? Ben won't tell me anything. Nothing I couldn't handle. The lie tasted bitter, but necessary. I wouldn't tell her how Claire had recorded our confrontation, trying to bait me into admitting to blackmail. How Dylan's grip had left marks that proved useless without security footage. How I'd barely made it to the elevator before my hands started shaking. A notification popped up on my screen, an email from Morton Technologies' board of directors. My heart stopped. I have to go, honey. Love you. Mom, wait. I ended the call and opened the email. The board wanted an emergency meeting. Tomorrow. About financial irregularities in the agricultural fund. My phone rang, Dylan's number. I declined it, but a text followed immediately. You really think they'll believe you over me? I built that company. Another text, Claire's already told them you tried to extort us. Check your email. The second email contained a video clip. My voice, edited and stripped of context, give me full custody. Or I take everything. Your career, your reputation. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, mind racing. Dylan thought he had me cornered, but he'd forgotten something crucial. Something about Sophie's coding project. I dialed Ben. Tell me you didn't do anything stupid, he answered. Define stupid. I pulled up the command prompt on my laptop. Remember that backdoor Sophie found in the company's security system? Ashlyn, no. They're going to bury the embezzlement evidence. Frame me for extortion. Then we fight it legally. You can't. They have Sophie's college fund. Our savings. Everything. My fingers flew across the keyboard. I'm not letting him take anything else from us. At least wait until. A third email arrived, from Claire's personal account. The subject line made my blood run cold. Sophie's father? Attached was a DNA test from 13 years ago. One Dylan had apparently kept all this time. I have to go, I told Ben, and hung up despite his protests. The test results blurred through my tears. All those years of Dylan's subtle comments about Sophie's intelligence, her tech skills, her personality, so different from his. I'd defended our daughter, never suspecting he'd known all along she wasn't his. My phone buzzed again. Dylan, let's talk about Sophie's real father. Better yet, let's tell her. The rage that filled me was cold, clarifying. I opened Sophie's project folder, the one she'd been using to practice her coding. Inside was a program she'd written, designed to track and document system vulnerabilities. A program that had been running, undetected, on Dylan's company laptop for weeks. I typed out my response, check your email. Then I executed Sophie's program, watching as it compiled weeks of data, every fraudulent transaction, every altered record. Every deleted security log. The program hadn't just tracked Dylan's crimes, it had recorded them in real time, creating an unalterable blockchain of evidence. My daughter. My brilliant, protective daughter. I forwarded everything to the board, the SEC, and Dylan's competitors. Then I sent one final email to Claire, attaching photos of Dylan with not one, but 3 other women. Still think I'm the one he's playing? My phone lit up with Dylan's call again. This time, I answered. You really should have paid more attention to Sophie's coding lessons, I said before he could speak. Turns out she inherited her real father's talent for exposing frauds. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then, very quietly, Dylan said, "You've just started a war." No, I replied, thinking of Sophie, safe at my mother's house. I've just ended one. The police station's fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows across Ben's face as he posted my bail. 3 a.m. and my hand still trembled from being fingerprinted. From Sophie's desperate voicemails I couldn't answer while in custody. Fraud, extortion, and corporate espionage. Ben's voice was flat as we walked to his car. Dylan's really outdone himself. He had it all planned. My voice sounded distant, hollow. The board meeting was a trap. They were waiting with security, with lawyers. Everything I sent them, he'd already twisted into evidence against me. We'll fight it. With what? I laughed, the sound bordering on hysteric. He froze our accounts. The house, the cars, everything's in his name. Even Sophie's college fund. Ben's grip tightened on the steering wheel. Sophie's safe at your mother's. For now. My phone buzzed, another text from Claire, he's filing for emergency custody. Says you're unstable, dangerous. I'm sorry. Sorry. Like that word could fix anything. We pulled up to Ben's apartment, and I finally asked the question burning in my throat, did you know? About what? Sophie. I turned to face him. The DNA test. Did you know she was yours? The silence stretched for 3 heartbeats. 4. 5. I suspected, he finally said. The timing. But you were so happy with Dylan. I couldn't. 13 years. My voice cracked. 13 years of watching her grow up calling another man Dad. Of watching him use her as a weapon against me. And you just watched. Ash. Don't. I got out of the car, legs barely holding me up. I need to call Sophie. But when I tried, the call wouldn't connect. Blocked number. I tried my mother's house. Same thing. Another text from Claire, Dylan's at your mother's. He's taking Sophie home. The world tilted sideways. Ben caught my arm as I stumbled. He can't, I whispered. The restraining order only covers you. Ben was already pulling up his phone. And with the charges against you. My phone rang, Dylan. Where are you? His voice was smooth, controlled. Victory wrapped in concern. Sophie's asking for you. Let me talk to her. I don't think that's wise, given your mental state. Breaking into corporate servers? Stealing company data? What were you thinking? I was thinking about protecting our daughter. The words tasted like ash. Our daughter? He laughed softly. We both know that's not true. Don't worry, though. I won't tell her. Not unless you force my hand. What do you want? Simple. Drop everything. Sign a confession, taking full responsibility for the fraud. Give me full custody. In return, I'll make sure you avoid jail time. Maybe even arrange supervised visits, eventually. Ben was watching me, his face a mirror of my own pain. The truth about Sophie hung between us like a physical thing. You have an hour to decide, Dylan continued. After that, I start telling Sophie exactly why her mother can't be trusted. Starting with who her real father is. The line went dead. I slid down Ben's apartment wall, the cold concrete grounding me as my world imploded. Everything I'd done to protect Sophie had only given Dylan more weapons to use against us. We need to call the police, Ben said. And tell them what? That the respected executive is keeping his daughter away from his unstable, criminal wife? My laugh turned into something like a sob. Face it, Ben. He's one. No. Ben crouched in front of me. Look at me, Ash. We're not done. I can't lose her. You won't. He pulled out his phone again. But we need help. Real help. Who? Claire Mitchell, he said, showing me a new text. She wants to meet. Says she has proof Dylan set you up. Proof that could save both you and Sophie. I stared at the message, hope warring with suspicion. It's probably another trap. Probably. Ben helped me up. But right now, it's the only play we have left. I thought of Sophie, scared and confused, trapped in Dylan's web of lies. Of 13 years of secrets about to explode. Make the call, I said. Claire chose the same coffee shop where this had all started. She sat alone, her designer purse on the table like a shield, hands wrapped around an untouched latte. No sign of a trap, but Ben still insisted on watching from his car outside. He's going to destroy you, she said as I sat down. He's already convinced the board you're unstable. Dangerous. Yet here you are. She pushed a USB drive across the table. Everything you need. The real financial records, recordings of him planning the setup, proof the DNA test was fabricated. I stared at her. Fabricated? Sophie is yours and Ben's. Dylan's known for years, but he needed leverage. Insurance. She laughed bitterly. Just like he needed me to play the desperate mistress. To help him frame you. My phone buzzed, Dylan, taking Sophie to the lake house for the weekend. Last chance to take the deal. Why are you helping me now? Because, Claire's voice caught. I'm pregnant. And I've seen what he does to children he claims to love. The coffee shop door chimed. Dylan walked in, Sophie trailing behind him. My heart stopped. Well, Dylan said, sliding into the seat beside Claire. This is cozy. Sophie's eyes were red-rimmed, her shoulders hunched. When she saw me, she started forward, but Dylan's hand shot out, gripping her arm. Dad, she whispered. You're hurting me. Sophie, I kept my voice steady, go wait with Uncle Ben in the car. She's not going anywhere. Dylan's smile was razor-sharp. Claire, the drive? Claire's hand trembled as she reached for the USB, but I was faster. I snatched it and stood, putting distance between us. It's over, Dylan. The real records, the recordings, everything's here. You mean these recordings? He pulled out his phone, played a clip of Claire and me discussing blackmail. Expertly edited from our previous conversations. Or maybe the financial records showing your embezzlement? Stop it, Sophie suddenly said. Just stop lying. Dylan's grip on her arm tightened. Sophie, honey. I sent the original email, she blurted out. About you and Claire. I found everything, the money, the affairs, all of it. And I recorded you. Every conversation, every meeting, every threat. It's all backed up to Mom's secure server. The color drained from Dylan's face. You're lying. Check your laptop. Sophie's voice shook but held firm. The program I wrote for my coding project? It wasn't just tracking your crimes. It was documenting them. Timestamped, authenticated, impossible to fake. Claire stood abruptly. I think that's my cue to leave. Sit down, Dylan snarled, but she was already walking away, heels clicking rapidly on the tile. Let her go, I said. Let Sophie go. It's done. Nothing's done. He pulled Sophie closer. I still have custody. Your word against mine. Actually, Ben's voice came from behind us. 2 police officers flanked him. You have multiple witnesses to assault of a minor, plus Sophie's testimony and evidence. Want to try for kidnapping too? Dylan's grip loosened. Sophie wrenched free, running to me. I held her tight, feeling her shoulders shake. You can't prove anything, Dylan said, but his voice wavered. Maybe not. I handed the USB drive to one of the officers. But the SEC and FBI can. They're very interested in both sets of books, the real ones, and the ones you tried to pin on me. Mom? Sophie looked up at me. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. About any of it. Don't be. I smoothed her hair back, seeing Ben's eyes in her face for the first time. You were protecting me, just like I was protecting you. As the officers led Dylan away, Sophie turned to Ben. So. Should I call you Dad now? Ben's laugh was shaky. Let's start with lunch. We have a lot to talk about. I watched them walk ahead of me, already deep in conversation about coding and security protocols. My revenge had cost me a marriage built on lies, but it had given me something better: truth, freedom, and a family forged in honesty instead of manipulation. Sometimes losing everything was the only way to gain what mattered most. The autumn wind carried the scent of fresh earth as I walked the rows of our first smart farming prototype. Solar-powered sensors blinked among the crops, Sophie's coding bringing life to my agricultural tech designs. Our legacy, built from the ashes of Dylan's betrayal. The investors are impressed. Ben appeared beside me, tablet in hand. Full funding for the next phase. Your mother's farm will be the first full implementation. Sophie will be thrilled. I touched a sensor, remembering how she'd improved my original design. She's already talking about neural networks for crop prediction. She gets that from you. Ben's voice held a note of pride he was still learning to express. The brilliance, the determination. The stubbornness, I added, making him laugh. My phone buzzed, a news alert about Dylan's sentencing. 8 years for fraud and embezzlement. Claire had testified against him, her unborn child another victim of his manipulations. Sometimes I wondered if she'd known about Sophie all along, if that's why she'd finally chosen to help us. Still following the case? Ben asked. Last time. I deleted the alert. Sophie asked about visiting him. What did you tell her? That it's her choice. I turned to face him. Just like it's her choice whether to call you Dad. We can't protect her from everything. No, he agreed. But we can teach her to protect herself. Inside the monitoring station, Sophie sat surrounded by screens, her fingers flying over keyboards. She'd insisted on coming to work with me instead of starting high school, real-world experience, she'd argued. Besides, I've already completed most of their computer science curriculum. She looked up as we entered. Mom. The pattern recognition algorithm caught something weird in Sector 7. Show me. As she pulled up the data, I studied her face, so like Ben's when she was focused, but with my drive, my need to understand everything. She'd used those same traits to expose Dylan's crimes, to protect me when I thought I was protecting her. See? She pointed to an anomaly in the soil composition readings. If we adjust the irrigation here. Sophie, I interrupted gently. There's something we need to discuss. She stiffened. Is this about the letter? From Dylan? Ben and I exchanged looks. You knew? I monitor all our communications. She shrugged, but her voice wavered. Security protocols, remember? Honey. He wants to apologize. She turned back to her screens. Says he's changed. Wants to make amends. What do you want? I asked. I want. She took a deep breath. I want to show him this. What we built without him. How strong we are without him. Pride and pain mingled in my chest. My daughter, turning revenge into redemption, betrayal into growth. Speaking of building things, Ben said, breaking the tension. Your mom's funding came through. Want to help design the neural network? Sophie's eyes lit up. Really? Can we start now? After lunch, I said firmly. Family tradition, remember? As they gathered their things, still debating algorithm specifics, I looked out over our test field. The sensors blinked like stars fallen to earth, each one representing a choice, a consequence, a step toward healing. Dylan had tried to bury us, never realizing we were seeds. Now we'd grown into something stronger, something true. A family built on choice rather than obligation, on understanding rather than control. "Mom?" Sophie called from the doorway. "You coming?" "Right behind you." I touched the sensor one last time, feeling its steady pulse beneath my fingers. Like a heartbeat, like hope, like the future we'd coded line by line, choice by choice, truth by truth. Some would call it revenge, this rising from the ashes of Dylan's destruction. But standing here, watching Ben and Sophie head toward the car, their heads bent together over some new idea, I knew better. This wasn't revenge. This was restoration. And we were just beginning.